team on this side, okay, and one team on this side. That's why I split the bartenders, I split the team in such a way. I'm giving you two papers over here. It's just empty and it says the Americas. Okay, just have a look. The Americas. Imagine that this is the entire strip of America, which means north and south, and the Caribbeans over here. Using whatever information you have in your mind, whatever information you got from Johnny Depp movies, Pirates of the Caribbean, blah blah blah, use that imagination and try to put down all these rum that you see over there based on their location. Example, okay, example. So I look at Bacardi for example, okay. Bacardi comes from Cuba, okay. So if this is the United States, this is Mexico, here is Cuba. So I draw a small little island here and I write Bacardi, Bacardi, and I write under that Cuba, okay. You have exactly 5 minutes to do this entire thing, not more than 5 minutes.
All of them?
Yeah, of course, all. You want half an hour or what? Okay, 10 minutes. Let's make it 10 minutes for you guys. All right. So you have 10 minutes. One second. Evgenia, come on this side. Evgenia, come on this side. Amar can help me. Amar, you don't this thing. All right. Okay. So you guys understood? Here you go. And this is a teamwork. Huh? So you guys need to act like a team. Pile up together. You want to sit on the stairs. I don't care. Here. Here. And you can discuss among yourselves. Yeah, Ryan on this side. Technology. I will just do it very roughly, okay, for you. I will not. My pictures are not the best, but it's on a very rough note how you will see it. Can everyone see the board? Okay, perfect. First, what is rum made from? Sugar cane, molasses, anything else?
I think molasses is from sugar, right? From sugar cane.
Molasses is from sugar cane. Sugar cane. So you can make rum from sugar cane or sugar cane juice?
Sugar cane juice.
Okay, a bit more specific. All right, good. And where does sugar cane come from? I know, of course. But which country, which places does it originate from?
It's India and China.
India? How come? Sure?
Yeah,
Really, guys? I mean, we always watch Pirates of the Caribbean and they are drinking rum. It should be Latin America, right? Caribbean. So why is she saying India and China?
because I've seen it.
We have farms in India.
We have farms, yes, I agree. Okay, sugarcane, okay, rum is made from sugarcane, all right. However, sugarcane has its origins in Southeast Asia. Predominantly, the two major countries was India and New Guinea, which is very close to Australia. Okay, these are the two major countries. However, in Guinea, this place, New Guinea, in this, what happened? Not if Guinea, no. In this place, you had a lot of tribals or savages sort of things that were living there. So it was quite difficult for how would you call it? For basically this time when the British, the Spanish, the French, the Dutch, they were the ones during the age of discovery. When they were traveling, they were trying to take this new product which they found, and they had already heard about it since a very, very long time. They were the ones who took sugarcane from India and from Southeast Asian countries, which includes Indonesia, all the way to the New World, to the opposite side of the globe. And the gentleman who took it was?
Columbus, Christopher.
Excellent, Christopher Columbus. He planted it in a small little island called Cuba. No. See how famous Cuba has made its name, that people think of it like that. So if we imagine, okay, that this is the tip of America, okay, USA. You have got Mexico, all right, let's presume Mexico, and then you have over here, all right, Latin America. Can you see the picture? I know it's a bit too low, but this is Latin America. Over here you have Peru, you have got Brazil that starts over here, okay. You have French Guiana or Guinea, however you want to pronounce it, okay. You have got Venezuela that comes over here, okay. Now The first place that he brought rum or the sugarcane to was a small little island called Hispaniola. Hispaniola. He named the island after his own ship. I had this information from a long time because I was fighting with a guy quite some time back. But Hispaniola is the name of the island. And which countries are established on that island?
Spain.
Spain? No. Hispaniola. Hispaniola basically means Spain. But it is the name of an island in the Caribbean. And on that island there are two countries located side by side. It's a small island called Hispaniola with two countries, and the two countries are Haiti and Dominican Republic. This was the first place that he planted sugarcane. Now the island is split into two parts. Okay, you have got Haiti, H, and Dominican Republic, DR. Okay, this was the first place that he planted sugarcane. From here it started spreading to, you have over here, okay, this is the main island. You have got Cuba, Jamaica, all right, and then you have a series of small islands, Barbados, etc., 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 etc. Nicaragua. You've got all these small little islands that form this region here down, and this entire place is called the Caribbean Sea. Okay, this is geography. For all those who have come for my wine trainings, you know how much I stress on geography, because it gives you a very good idea about where in the world all these places are. Now, sugarcane, of course, was produced initially over here in Southeast Asia, and from there it was traveling around. People had started making sugar right from the first BC. Okay, sugar was already being made, but it didn't look like the way you have it now. You don't have that white crystalline sugar. That's not how it was. The sugar that was produced at that time was raw. It was something what we call gur in India. It's jaggery?
Jaggery,
Yeah, that is what was being produced. And it was even mentioned in the books of Pliny the Elder, okay, a very, very old Greek, Roman philosopher, whatever. Yeah, he even mentioned it in the book at that time that a very good substance was being made in Southeast Asia, because that's how news spread and traveled. So it traveled all the way, if you imagine, all the way from Southeast Asia to Europe, to the Greek cities, to Roman cities, and all these people knew about it, but they knew it only as a medicine. Sugar or jaggery was being used as medicine. It was not a drink, it was not a condiment that you put in food. Okay, that's what it was. And then when they started mentioning it, until the 15th century, it was only considered a medicine. But people went out in search of it. In the 15th century, 16th century, with the age of discovery, the main countries that were important when it comes to discovering new places, the United Kingdom, okay, England, they were set out. So the British, Spanish, Portuguese, and the French. Of course, you had the Dutch, but they were not so much involved in the sugar trade. Okay, make sense, guys? Is it boring? Confusing? All right. So all the way from there, these guys came down and they established new colonies. New colonies were established all over the place. They had already discovered South Africa as a colony, the entire African continent. Asia had already become a colony of theirs, and from there they realized that sugar started getting more popular. From a medicine, it became a luxury. To buy sugar was very, very expensive in London at one point in time. It was very expensive to buy sugar. So they realized that, okay, when they started getting this stuff, why not bring it from these colonies and make it over there? Because they had labor, local people, cheap, not a big problem. The story of rum is actually very much intertwined with slave trade. If you search anywhere about rum, it is all intertwined with slavery. So what they used to do, and this is what the East India Company, you had the French company, okay, they all established themselves in this area around the Caribbean. And what they would do is, they would contact Africa and get slaves transported into Latin America, people from African continent. So they would bring slaves here, make them work in the fields, okay, harvest sugarcane and make sugar. This sugar was sold to England, which was the main importer. So they would sell the sugar to England, and then the English people would send, that time they didn't have much, things like money, but it was more goods. It was trade. So what they used to sell off was automobiles, things that could be beneficial for the new world. These things were sent here, and they sent it back to Africa and bring more slaves. And that's how you have such a huge influence of the brown people all over the Latin American continent. Make sense so far? All right. Now what happens is that these slaves, while they were working over here in these areas around the Caribbean, of course sugar was made for the masters, if I put it in that term. Okay, it's not too nice nowadays, but at that time they would make sugar for them. Sugar was sold off. But when you make sugar, anyone knows the process of making sugar, by the way, over here? How you make sugar?
Remove the juice first.
Okay, so you crush the sugar cane, you get juice.
Yeah.
Then what do?
They will boil.
Sure? I don't think so. Filter? Alona, what do you think? My God, we eat sugar every day.
No.
They dry, fry. I would love.
No, they will stay.
Okay.
Frying after that.
Anthony, how do you make sugar? You are serving so much of sugar in drawing room.
I think boil and burn.
Okay, correct. It starts with first filtering and then it's boiling. So first you filter, okay, the sugarcane juice, and you get rid of all the crap. Then you boil this sugarcane juice. When you boil sugarcane juice, okay, most of the liquid, it forms a scum on top. Yeah, that scum is taken off, thrown out. And then the liquid is drained out. The liquid becomes very thick and black. If you heat sugar on a pan, you will see it becomes very thick and black, right? That moves out. Yeah, it becomes caramel, but before, after forming caramel, when it changes even more, okay, it is drained out, and you have crystalline thing that forms on the pan. So the bigger the base, the more sugar will be formed. Okay, so that's how sugar gets formed, and the black liquid gets taken out. That black liquid is called molasses. Clear so far? All right. So that black liquid was called molasses. Now this sugar was sent to London for the rich, and these guys, they were like, what in the world are my bosses trying to take? What are they sending over there? Let us also try it. So they tried to do the same with molasses. Okay, they said, let's try the molasses. It was sweet. Of course it is sweet. It's very sweet, super sweet. They liked it, and they said, let's try to make alcohol. That's the simple thing that most people try to do. In Scotland and Ireland, for that matter, when they had extra wheat, they had a lot of wheat that they had, wheat, rye, maize, excess supply. Rather than feeding people, they said, let's make alcohol. And what we ended up getting? Whiskey. Exactly, it's the same. When you have surplus of food, you always try to make alcohol. That's sort of the human mentality since centuries, and that is what happened. So these slaves, they made something and they were drinking on a quiet. They made this drink which was fermented alcohol, but it was too strong. And by that time they had already realized that if you do something like this, like distillation, you get an alcohol which gives you a good kick and you can sleep well. I mean, after all the day of hard labor, you definitely want to sleep, right? So they made this stuff. They made this stuff and they drank it, and of course they were caught by their bosses, and they're like, what the hell these guys are drinking every day? They seem so happy. So of course that's how they found out about rum. That is how they found out what rum is altogether. And now this same thing was taken back, and the people enjoyed it. The people in London enjoyed it, and it became a very cheap commodity initially. Later on it started gaining popularity and it became a bit more expensive. However, in all these different islands, people made it in their own different way. Alright, so technically, now we'll go back to the notes, now the boring stuff. That was all the historical part. Now we go to the boring part. So rum technically is an alcoholic beverage that is made either from sugarcane juice or from molasses. It can be made from any. Now when you think about gin, whiskey, vodka, rum, the government puts a law that it can be only called whiskey if it is made from 5 ingredients. If it's vodka, it can be made from anything, but it needs to be this distilled. For rum, there is no such law. Anything, the only basic law is anything that is made from sugarcane can be called rum. That's the only condition. Any alcoholic beverage, okay? So that is why you have got rum that is made in different ways. Now I will show you the process, okay? It's a bit small, however, yeah, just have a look. So the first thing that you have is sugarcane. Sugarcane is crushed, you get the juice, alright, it's harvested, it's crushed, you get the juice. Now that is the very first and the most important stage. Either you can make rum from sugarcane juice directly, or you can make sugar by boiling it, alright. So you boil it and you make sugar and you get molasses. So there are two things which could be used technically in making rum. This is what determines whether it is written as RUM or RHUM. Have you seen that on bottles?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll tell you also where it is done differently. Now once you get the product, which is either sugarcane juice or the molasses, you need to dilute it with a little bit of water because it is too strong, too much of sugar. If you add yeast into it, it dies. Okay? So you add yeast, alright, into it, and the next thing that you add after adding yeast is water, and you allow it to ferment. After fermentation, you get an alcoholic liquid. It's not called rum yet. It's only an alcoholic liquid. There is one more thing that could be added. It is called dunder. Okay? This is one small little product that could be added. It's called dunder. It's important, but I will not explain it yet until we finish the entire process. Clear? Alona, you with us? Awesome. Okay, so now, did you guys understand until here that you got an alcoholic liquid after the fermentation? Very simple, isn't it, so far? Dinesh, you look confused. No?
Actually, still it's not visible, this one.
Yeah, I know, that's the unfortunate part. However, I mean, as long as you can imagine the process, that's more important. Imagine you take sugarcane, crush it, you get the juice, you get juice, you keep some juice separate, the other juice you boil it, you get sugar, and you get molasses. So now you take the sugarcane juice and you take molasses. With both of this you can make rum. If you make it from sugarcane juice, you need to write RHUM. If you make it from molasses, you need to write RUM. That's the first main difference. Clear so far? Now there are two people who do it differently. The people who make it in the French colonies, okay, you have got a lot of French colonies, let me tell you the names, okay, the French speaking islands were, for example, Haiti, Guadeloupe, Martinique. Rums that come from there, okay, make it with sugarcane juice. Brazil makes it with sugarcane juice. Alright, they don't use molasses. And the other ones, all the others, the English speaking, they are more prominently making it with molasses. They write it as rum. The ones who make it with sugarcane juice have to write it as rum agricole, RHUM agricole, AGRICOL. Basically agricultural rum, but RHUM. You guys have understood this difference? Clear? The first part. Okay. Now that you get the alcohol liquid after fermentation, okay, after fermentation it goes either into a pot still or a patent still. And I hope you guys know that. The still, the two types of stills, pot and patent. Depending on how you work the still, okay, you can either get a rum with a lot of aromas, or you can get a rum with very less aromas. Okay, it could be either. So there are two ways. You can get a rum with a lot of aroma, which is called in rum terms, it's called mark. Okay, not so important for you to know. You just need to remember lot of aromas and very less aroma. Simple words. If you have very less aroma in the rum, what is it good for? In the restaurant, what is it good for? If the aromas are very less, what is it good for? Mixing? Very good. Cocktails? Awesome. So you don't need too many aromas when you make a light rum and you're using it for a cocktail, do you? You don't, right? Because you're anyway going to blend it. Make sense? Yeah. But if you're not going to blend it, if you're not going to mix it, with fruit juice or something else to make a cocktail, you are going to drink it all by itself, neat. Then what do you need? Do you need a light aroma or heavy aroma? Heavy aroma, because that's the preference, right? So this is where, after you do the distillation, the next important step is this part. Whether is it heavy aroma or light aroma. If it is heavy aroma, it will go straight for things like this, bottling, which you will enjoy, like the Ronza Kappa. If I see anyone mix Ronza Kappa and drink with even water, I kick him. Ronza Kappa and things like this, you drink it neat by itself, because it's meant to be enjoyed for its heavy aromas. On the other hand, Bacardi White, okay, the Carta Blanca that we have over here, the Bacardi White, less aromas. It is meant for mixing. It is our pouring brand, correct? Especially people who are working within the bar. You know this. These are ones that are made, they are made with a specific intention that you don't need too many aromas. That's why they are made in a different way, okay? And then you get the light aroma, which is again used for mixing drinks. The next step after obtaining this rum, after the distillation process, it goes for maturation. You will mature it into oak casks. Normally the oak cask, the wood is sourced from bourbon. Yes, they are usually bourbon casks which are sourced from the states. So Tennessee, give me the words. Yeah, from all these, basically US, it's so simple. Okay, the casks are sourced from bourbon casks and they are used for maturing the rum. Now when the rum is kept to mature in certain places, I know it's a bit, it may be a bit tough for you to understand, especially those who have not done the entire WSET training with me, because I go so slow during WSET, I make you understand place, climate, sea, influence, all that stuff. Now it may be a bit too tough to understand what is maturation. But when you mature something in a hot area, it matures quickly because of the heat. The aromas become more stronger. And that's what happens with all those that gets matured in the Caribbean. But rum which is shipped all the way back to UK, like for example the one you have there, yeah, that rum, it matures more slowly. So if a rum takes 8 years to mature in Scotland, over here it takes 1 year. That is the difference. And after maturing, now there's a main person, okay, he's the main guy. He is the person who gets the maximum amount of salary you can ever think about, really. And these are the blenders, yeah. They know one cask tastes like this, second cask tastes like this, third cask tastes different. So what he does is, he sits down with the owner and he makes the blend. He takes some from here, and he tries different percentages. Maybe 5%, maybe 10%. He changes it every time. But he knows the blend because that is how he can maintain consistency in the product that he's delivering. Guys, clear so far?
Yeah.
Alright. So this is the process how rum is made. Now I want one person from you to explain to me once again how rum is made. Who wants to take the initiative? Except the two bartenders. Mona? Why are you scared? You just need to imagine the process. Tell me in simple words. I don't need to have all the technical details. Alona? No? Okay, I will help you out.
Okay, this
Try.
is sugar cane. It's
Okay.
crushed and the sugar cane juice is taken out.
Okay,
And then
perfect.
It's filtered and then it's boiled.
Okay, slow. Amazing. I'm imagining it, that's why.
Okay, it's then boiled.
Okay.
Once it's boiled, sugar and molasses are separated.
Perfect.
Molasses goes one side.
Awesome.
Now on the other side, we can also make rum with just sugar cane juice.
Absolutely.
So now we have sugar cane juice
And your molasses. Okay.
So sugar cane juice, people name it as RHUM.
Yes.
And the one that's made with molasses is
RUM.
made RUM.
Very good.
So now we have these two. The rum now then goes to its next level distillation.
This is not yet called rum. This is still non-alcoholic, right?
Okay, no,
Yeah.
okay.
Now it needs to be added with yeast. Yeast is the
Yeast
product
and
that starts
water.
fermentation, correct? Yeast and water. And now it ferments. Once these two things ferment, then the next step, distillation. Perfect. Again, can be done in two ways, pot still or patent still. You don't need to worry about that. Just say distillation. Okay? And after this, what do you get?
High alcohol. Pure alcohol.
Strong, yeah? Heavy mark.
Aroma with lot of aromas
Exactly.
and less aromas. Less
Absolutely.
Aromas is useful for mixing cocktails or whatever.
Exactly.
And with flavors, drunk, neat. And
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
straight.
So this part, just to explain this part once again to everyone, because I see one very blank look all over the room. What I'm saying is, when it comes to aromas, after you distill anything, okay, based on how you distill it, you will get a rum, okay, an alcohol with at least 25 to 30 aromas, okay, and that can be decided by sommeliers. Sommeliers. That's why they also have a sommelier or a blender. Normally, he is also trained, equally trained. By just smelling the rum, okay, the first product, he will start writing down. Okay, I smell 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 aromas, which is also called in technical term esters. On the other one, probably when he knows, he'll say, I smell 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 until 500. And this normally is divided into 4 categories of rum, but I don't need to go in that, otherwise I will lose you. Okay, there are a lot of categories that they base it. This will determine what is the rum going to be used for. So when, for example, okay, when Bacardi made his first rum and he smelled it, he's like, okay, it only has 40 aromas, let's use it for mixing. He made the other one, the Oak Heart, he said, okay, this has a lot of aromas, no mixing with this, guys. Make sense? Stop me if you get confused, yeah? So this is the place where things changed. So now you have over here 2 different types. It is called mark, M-A-R-K. Okay, that's a simple word that they use. It's called mark. So you have these aromas. Yes, okay. So you have these aromas which now determine what's going to happen to them. And then the step is simple. Put it into a barrel, keep it for maturing, and then after that you blend it and bottle it. Is that clear? Confusion, Mona? Questions? Questions, Arun?
So we can get aromas in the barrel also, right?
Of course, in the barrel more aromas develop, because when you put alcohol into a barrel, it gains the aroma from the barrel. There is wood, there is vanilla, there is toast that you will get. All so many aromas you get it from the barrel. Spices, absolutely. Okay, you get different aromas from the barrel.
So like the less aroma one will not stir in the barrel?
Normally no. That's water.
Directly bottled?
Yeah. Normally the one with the less aroma is, no, not, you cannot bottle directly. The one with the less aroma is put into steel tanks because they don't want it to be matured. They don't want extra aromas, right? So they will put that. No worries. So the one that is put into, the one that is with the less aroma, you see the less mark, light mark, that is put into steel tank to keep it, so that they don't get any more aromas or any more color or any more flavor, and those become your white rum. Clear? So all your white rum usually is a light mark first, so light aromas, plus it is aged in stainless steel, or it is not aged basically. Question?
No, it's aged at least 1 year.
Yes, it is aged for at least 1 year, but again, it stays only in steel tanks. That's why it is not typically said as, aged, because when you say age, you actually mean that the aromas develop and you get more aromas. But the reason for aging a white rum, okay, after distillation, is so that the flavors soften up a bit. What happens if you drink 100% alcohol? You burn, you die, absolutely. And which is the thing that kills you most when you drink 100% alcohol? There is one thing in that, which is used to make your mouth fresheners. It is used for making
Ethyl alcohol.
Ethane.
no. Ethyl alcohol is what we drink. Methanol, exactly. Methanol is what makes your mouth refreshing, right? But that is the main killer. This is why you have laws that govern how nice it makes you feel lightheaded, and then after that you are gone up. So that's how it works. But alright, so coming back to the point, you have light mark kept in stainless steel tanks for 1 year minimum, and then it is put into the bottle and it becomes white rum. Clear? The second one, heavy mark, okay, is normally aged. Normally they would prefer to age it. Okay, it can be 1 year, it can be 3 years in barrels, it can be in different barrels, it can be in cement vats, okay, and after what you obtain is usually a dark rum. It is also, sometimes they add caramel to it to give color, and that is the dark rums that you see over there, okay, that is number 2. So you have light rum, which is white, and you have the dark rum, which is aged, and then in between you have got 2 more. You have got one which is the golden rum, when you talk about color, okay, where you add a little bit of caramel, or you may not need to add caramel. After aging it automatically gets that color, and that is called your golden. The 4th category is spiced rum. You see, the law is very lenient. They don't put so much of stress like whiskey, vodka, gin. Over here the law is very easy. They say no problem, you want to add spice, add spice. So Ajay decided one day, I want to add cinnamon, all the spice I have at my home in India. He brings everything, he adds it into the barrel, and he tries it out, and he tastes the rum afterwards. He likes it. He calls it spiced rum. Yeah, exactly. And that's the most basic method by which rum is made. Clear? However, the way you cook food in Zumagul, which country you come from? Kyrgyzstan. Very good. And the way you cook food, is it the same? Why?
Because we are having different products,
Different products, okay. What else?
different climates.
Okay. Let's ask next person. Alona and Lana. You both come from the same country or different countries? Same? Okay. Then change. Belarus. Belarus and almost. Are there any differences?
No, we are family.
Not much?
Just like India and Pakistan.
Exactly, yeah. But India is huge. North India and Pakistan is more comparable. Okay. Yeah, it's similar. Okay. But even though it's similar, there are still so many differences that you would find. It's one main reason is the place itself. That is one of the most important reasons. When you think about this place, the picture that I had put up over here, that very first picture, where it went, I don't know. But if you think about this places, even though they seem near, they are not exactly very near, right? You talk about Cuba, you talk about Dominican Republic, Haiti, okay, Barbados, Guyana, Venezuela over here, Brazil. They are not very close. They have their own culture. They have their own way of doing things. So even though they were all asked to chop sugarcane, they didn't do it the same way. They were all asked to make sugar, they didn't do it the same way. The basic method remained the same, but there were small techniques here and there that differed, okay? And that is what made the biggest difference between the rums that are produced here and the rums that are produced here. The biggest influence was French and British. The British managed to stay in one area. The French stayed in one area. So the French were the ones who basically used the method of making rum from sugarcane juice. So if you find a bottle that says Rum, R-H-U-M, agricole, you automatically need to know that it is first coming from a French colony. Okay, it has to come from a French colony, and second, it has to be made directly from sugarcane juice. These are the two most important factors which say Rum agricole. Okay, the second one, if it comes from a British colony, okay, like for example, British colony, you have got Trinidad, Tobago, Barbados, St. Lucia, Bermuda, Jamaica, okay, they had a different way of making their rum. So again, the things change over here. Spanish had a different way of making it. The technique is the same. The method of production is the same, but the way they distill it has been different. The way they do the fermentation can be either pot still or patent still. It could be different. So again, flavors and aromas have varied all throughout. Now here is a little picture of the entire process. Looks like sugarcane. See, this is how they pile up the sugarcane, and then the guys have to do the chopping. The poor little guys. You get the juice. The juice is boiled, and you get sugar, and you get molasses. This is how molasses looks. It's just dark, looks like dark chocolate, but it doesn't taste like that. And then after that, when you ferment it, it looks like this. Then you get, after the fermentation, okay, after you ferment it, you put it for distillation in a still like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 huge columns, okay, where it is distilled. During the distillation process, for those who have done level 1 or level 2 of WSET, what do you get after distillation? So when you put this alcohol, okay, this fermented juice, wine, let's talk about wine, it's easier. You put wine into a still, okay, into a still, and you distill it. What do you get? 2 products. Brandy, very good. And on the other side? Pomace, yes, very good, it's correct. Pomace is the residue, the leftover after distillation. Grape skin, some crap of that sort, yeah. Now this is what you get leftover, right, when you do brandy. When you do rum, distillation, okay, because all this thing goes inside this. All the crap over here goes into this. And when you distill it, you get alcohol, which is rum on one side, but on the other side, you get a residue leftover, some water, some skin, you know, a little bit of sugarcane things that remain behind. This is called dunder. This is called dunder. Okay, D-U-N-D-E-R. It is a thing which is now acidic. It has got very high acidity. What they do with this is they use this once again, not every place. Some places, the British places, use this thing again into the distillation. Whatever is remaining, they add it again into the new batch and they distill it because it adds more flavor. If this was whiskey, now this is a question to the bartenders, if this was whiskey, what would that dunder be called? I told you dunder, right? Dunder is the residue that remains after the distillation. Okay? You remove your rum, you keep it separate. The residue, do you throw it out? It's crap in reality, right? It's crap. You should be throwing it out. But they don't throw it out. They leave it because it has got a lot of aromas and flavors. And that is again used in making the next batch of rum. That is why the rum gets more flavors. When they use that, it keeps getting more and more flavors and it becomes very heavy. You remember there were two ways, heavy, light. So you want to make it more heavy, you can use that dunder to make it more heavier. And that is specially used in navy blends. Whenever you see it says navy blend, it is a much more heavier, strong type of rum. Overproof, exactly. So that they use this product called dunder in making that. How many of you guys have actually seen a bottle of Jack Daniels in front of you? I know you've all drunk it, but actually during drinking it, maybe at home, you know, when you're sitting having 2-3 shots, you said, let me just read the bottle, what it says. Anyone did that? Anyone read the bottle of Jack Daniels? Little bit. Is there any strange thing written on that bottle? Very strange, something that you don't understand. Sour mash. Sour mash. You read it on the Jack Daniel bottle? It says over there, sour mash. You know what is that? You know what's sour mash? It is the same residue that is after the distillation. It is the same residue that you find after the distillation. In whiskey it is called sour mash, but in rum it is called dunder. It's the same thing in reality. It's the same thing.
Mast or the mash?
Mash, M-A-S-H. When you go back to your outlets, try to check a bottle of Jack Daniels. It is written over there, sour mash. S-O-U-R-M-A-S-H. It is the same product. There is a reason why they use it. Because have you tried drinking water from the tap over here? Anyone? No? Why? What's the problem? You only give guest? My God. Disaster. What is the problem with the water over here in UAE? Tastes strange. Why? I'm not talking about before filtration. Huh? The guys filter it. In reality, you can drink the water of UAE. It's not that bad. But it is highly chlorinated. And they do it because of one reason. What is that reason behind you cannot drink the water of UAE? In many places you find like that water, huh, by the way. Oil could be, okay, but there is another important reason. Salty, okay. Hard. You've heard of hard water and soft water? In school, we learnt once upon a time, you know. There's hard water and there's soft water. Soft water can easily be drunk and it is used for cleaning, for washing, for everything. That is the water which we find in most of our countries, back home. In Europe, you can easily drink it, especially if you're situated near the mountains. You can just drink local tap water. But in places like here, or for example the States, the water is hard. It has too much of dissolved calcium phosphate and one more. Anyway, there are two salts that are dissolved in the water. And the only way you can know that is if you put detergent in the water and you rub it, it doesn't form a froth. It doesn't form a foam. That is hard water. You cannot drink that water. You will destroy your system inside. And this is why they have to add, you know, over here chlorine, blah, 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 to make it soft. Now this type of water is the unfortunate water that they use in the States to make whiskey and whatever. And the same water is used in making your rum in Latin America. Because of course no one's going to add chlorine. It's going to stink when you make a whiskey or you make a rum. So they cannot add chlorine. But in order to bring that, to make the water drinkable, they add dunder. The dunder or the sour mash makes the alcohol, the water drinkable. And that is what happens. And that is why you have to add it in those countries. So far clear, guys? I know it's a bit additional information, but you will see it. When you're doing rum, I mean, I'm not going that intense. However, because rum is not a topic that you do in one day. It takes at least a few more days if I go into in-depth of every single type of rum.
You said when it's with
Yeah?
cooking juice, it's rum. When it's with molasses, it's called, it has edge.
No,
No.
the other way around.
The other way around.
Yeah, the other way around.
So, Casadancha is made from
Casa Concha?
Yeah.
Casa Concha is wine. Ah, yes. This one is, however, not called rum.
Yeah, that's right.
This is not called rum at all. It cannot be called RHUM as well. They are still debating this topic because this is made from sugarcane juice. Okay? Cachaça is basically made from sugarcane juice in Brazil. And the government doesn't want to call, they want it to be called rum. The government says we want to call it rum. However, the people who basically run all this, the law, they say no, we will not call it rum. We will call it aguardiente. Okay? Aguardiente basically means cane brandy. It just means sugarcane brandy. That is what it means. Question? Okay. So it means sugarcane brandy, but they are trying to fight for it. So naming it or labeling it is just a terminology that is set by the government. However, all this can be called rum, RHUM or RUM by law.
But didn't they say that any alcoholic beverage made out of sugarcane juice can be called
Absolutely.
alcohol?
Yes, it can be called rum, but not RUM because that's where the fight is all taking place between Brazilians. Brazil are the one, they want it to be called rum, but they don't want it to be called rum. So it's an ongoing fight. Finally, in the end, you know, no one wins with the government. It's everywhere, right? All right, I'll just give you a small brief, okay, of a place called Demerara. You've heard of Demerara?
No.
No one heard of Demerara sugar?
No.
Brown sugar? Brown sugar. I learnt it in school, my God.
Oh, brown sugar.
Which school did you guys go to? In school, I still remember, during my hotel management, I remember them teaching us brown sugar, Demerara sugar. Demerara is a small little, Arun, what is it? What is Demerara? Is it a place? Is it a country? It's sugar. Okay, and we have Demerara rum, right? You guys heard of Demerara rum? Okay, no. All right, Demerara is a river that flows through the state of, the country called Guyana. Okay, it's a small little river, and that is where they first began the production of sugarcane and rum. That is why the raw sugar that was obtained from there, this sugar, this color sugar, was obtained over there, and this color sugar was brown. That is why they named it Demerara sugar or brown sugar. That is how they called it. Now this little place has got many types of distilleries, and they make a lot of different types of rum. Heavy mark, light mark, lot of aromas, less aromas, and then the distiller blends everything. Soldiers, okay, during the British time, they work hard, right? The soldiers do a lot of hard work. What do they want after they finish work? What do you think they would want at that time? After finishing work, what is it that, and mostly soldiers were men, sorry about it women, but at that time, majority people in the army, the British Navy, were men. Is it? Agree? Don't agree? I know you can fight about it, but now it's no use. It is done. At that time, most of the soldiers were men. And what do men want when they are stressed? Alcohol and? I'm not saying it. They said it. He said it. It's always that. But this is why. No, it's true. I mean, but this is history. And this is how it is nature as well. Alcohol and girls. I mean, in reality, not girls, women at that time. And those with the beard. But Pepper, why are you so upset? Okay, all right. Don't be upset. But the thing is, at that time, imagine if the government, and they used to give a ration. You know what's a ration or a quota? The government would provide. So let's say Sushil is working in the army with me, okay? I'm the general. So if he is working hard, there was always a portion of food and a portion of alcohol that was given, because water was not too cheap. Water was expensive. So they would give the cheapest alcohol and a small quantity of food. That is your food. So you go in the canteen, you would get food and alcohol. Unfortunately, they don't do it nowadays. But it was always the cheapest stuff given. Now, if I want to make sure that he doesn't come for second helping, what do I do? Let's say I don't want him to come back for second round. What do I do?
Give him the big mug.
Give him too much?
Give him less.
Give him less, give him too much? Give him? Ajay, what do you said?
Give a mug full bucket.
Mug full. No, they had smart idea.
Alcohol percentage.
Exactly. They made it more strong. The stronger the alcohol, the quicker he gets knocked out.
Yeah.
Right? The quicker you get knocked out, next day you go to work. He won't have any more rum after that. He won't have any more alcohol. So what they did is they started making the alcohol more and more strong. And the best way to do it was the blending part. So they would take heavy rum, a lot of heavy rum from all over, blend everything together, add caramel, give it to the guys. And rum from everywhere, from Guyana, rum from Jamaica, rum from Tobago. They would take everything, blend it together, give it to the guys. The guys were knocked out after that. They cannot even think of girls, forget about that. It was only rum, that's it. So and that is what was called Navy rum. Make sense so far? So that was called Navy rum. And this is the same rum that you will find, mostly it's dark in color and it's very strong. Alcohol percentage is usually very high. So what is overproof? What is Navy strength then? What is overproof? Overproof rum, Navy strength rum.
The rule, the law, it's supposed to be if it is more than that.
No, okay, I'll tell you.
It has
Okay.
percentage in alcohol.
Now if I became smart to give him strong rum, okay, how can he do something better?
You'll mix water.
Of course he'll mix water and he'll drink. That is one thing that they started doing. But other than that, sometimes guys, do they like to mix drinks too much? I mean, do they like diluted drinks or they like stronger drinks?
Diluted.
Guys I'm talking. And if you think about the army and the navy people, the more stronger the better. They enjoy it, right? Sometimes the government decided that, you know, we are cost cutting. So while we are cost cutting, let's dilute the rum a little bit. At some point in time, they had to do that. So they diluted the rum and they would give it to them. But what he does, as a smart guy, he knows that somewhere in the law, the government has written strong rum needs to be given. So what he would do, he would take gunpowder. You know gunpowder? Gunpowder is used in the barrel to fire. He would take gunpowder and pour a little bit of rum over it, okay? And he would light a fire and try to see if it fires. If it doesn't fire, the alcohol level is very low. If it still causes a fire, the alcohol level is high. So that was called Navy strength rum. All the ones which were above 50% of alcohol was called Navy strength or overproof, which means the alcohol level is high. And that is how they started checking that these guys make sure they give us the right stuff and not the bullshit stuff. Clear? So these are the various varieties of rum that you will find nowadays in the market. Time changed and it became a fashion to drink this. Now let me give you the flavor descriptors. If you want, you can write this down. Rum from Barbados is usually very light and golden in color. Barbados makes rum which is light and golden. And if you check the rums that we have in the hotel, you will find that out. Okay?
So rum from Barbados.
Barbados is usually light and golden in color. Second type of rum, Jamaica. Jamaica is known for very aromatic rum. Okay? Jamaica makes very aromatic, flavorful rums. White, dark and golden, all three. But they make very aromatic rum. So if someone asks you for a Jamaican rum, okay, like Appleton, you know that it is very strong in aromas. It's very nice rum. Third, Cuba. Cuba makes usually the lighter style, but they make a lot of variety. Light, dark, golden, spiced, they make everything. Cuba. Alright. The next one is Demerara. Demerara is Guyana. Guyana makes a more sweeter style rum. Sweet and intense. Sweet and intense rum comes from Guyana. Then you have got rum agricole, which comes from the French islands of Martinique, Haiti, Guadeloupe. These rums, if you check the rum, in fact, that we have over here, which is made from sugarcane juice, you will smell like a vegetable smell in that.
Yeah.
It has a bit of vegetable smell. That is what you find typically when it's made from sugarcane juice. All right. And the last one, okay. Normally the French-speaking islands, Martinique, Guadeloupe, and Haiti. These rums. And then you have the ones that come from Trinidad. There's only one rum anyway from there, Angostura. That's the only rum you will find from Trinidad and Tobago. You have the Central Caribbean, okay, like Guatemala, Colombia, Venezuela. They make sweet rum, sweeter style. And finally, the US makes more spiced rum like Sailor Jerry. US has more spice rums. UK, very light. Do you have any questions about this? So you have for now just a small recap. Ajay, maybe you can pour rum for everyone. Go ahead. Yeah. Hey, not Zakapa, you crazy or what? I'll have to sign for this. No, go with the Bacardi, guys. Bacardi, and then you can try the spiced rum. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, guys, just pour it around. You can pour yourself. Don't pour a big chunk. 5 ml. All right. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I will come back. Just 5 ml. Guys, pass your glasses there. It's more easier for him.
Single or double?
Excuse me? What's this? This is a training. This is not a drinking session, guys. Okay. Anyway, for the others,
And after that,
it's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Monday.
Okay, Rabi, while you are pouring, guys, remaining, let's do a short recap.